my grandparents, in 1943 had moved to Oak Ridge, Tennessee, which was a city that was built in complete secrecy in 1943 for the sake of enriching uranium for the first atomic bomb. And it was a really strange place. At the height of production, there were about 75,000 people living and working there. And that's everyone from, janitors and secretaries and doctors and nurses and construction workers to scientists, school children. Basically, it was a totally self-contained town. And, some 95 or 98% of people didn't know what they were working on, or were briefed to various levels according to like what they needed to know. They knew it was a war job, that's it. They knew it was a top secret war job. And this policy was called compartmentalization. So it meant you knew only exactly what you needed to know to complete your job. My grandfather was a mid-level chemist, and he died before I was born. So, part of this project was trying to understand who he was, and how he had come to be involved in this, what I understand is an atrocious violence, and what it had, how it had impacted him. As far as I can guess from, my research, I think at that stage he might have known a little bit, like he might have been able to guess. Certainly he was a chemist and he was working with uranium, so he had a little bit more context than, say, a secretary or construction worker would have had. But he would not have been briefed on the whole project or really had an idea, of, for example, the other labs working on it. Oak Ridge was, Los Alamos is the city that people know a lot more about. That's where the sort of more famous scientists, the Oppenheimers, the tellers, the other people that were kind of more making the decisions and knew what was going on. So Oak Ridge was more of an industrial site, but there were a lot more people there. And so, it was a patriotic time and people were happy to have war jobs. The jobs paid well. And the wild thing is that people learned about what they were doing when Truman announced the bombing over the radio. So they learned along with the whole rest of the world.